Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Cheating Wife Revelations, the podcast where we dive deep into the unexpected, the dramatic, and sometimes downright shocking stories of infidelity. Today's story will keep you on the edge of your seat. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. Ariadne's seemingly perfect life took a tumultuous turn when she found herself entangled in a forbidden romance with Tarek, a charming and enigmatic stranger she met at a work conference. What started as innocent conversations soon blossomed into a passionate affair that threatened to shatter the carefully constructed facade of her marriage to Bevis. As Ariadne navigated the treacherous waters of infidelity, she found herself torn between the familiarity and security of her life with Bevis and the exhilarating allure of her relationship with Tarek. The thrill of secrecy and the forbidden nature of their encounters only served to heighten her feelings of guilt and desire, creating a dangerous cocktail of emotions that she struggled to contain. Caught in a web of deceit and desire, Ariadne found herself leading a double life, juggling the demands of her marriage and her affair with Tarek. The thrill of sneaking around and the intoxicating rush of being desired clouded her judgment, blinding her to the potential consequences of her actions. As the affair continued to escalate, Ariadne's once steadfast resolve began to crumble under the weight of her guilt and conflicting emotions. The fear of discovery loomed large, casting a shadow over her every move and forcing her to confront the harsh reality of her choices. Despite her best efforts to keep her affair hidden, the truth eventually came to light in a dramatic and unexpected manner, sending shockwaves through Ariadne's carefully constructed world. The revelation of her infidelity not only shattered Bevis' trust but also exposed the depths of her deception, leaving her vulnerable and exposed in the harsh light of truth. As Ariadne grappled with the fallout of her actions, she was forced to confront the devastating impact of her betrayal on those she loved most. The once vibrant colors of her life now seemed muted and dull, tainted by the shadows of her indiscretions and the pain she had caused. In the wake of her affair being unveiled, Ariadne found herself at a crossroads, faced with a choice that would determine the course of her future. Would she continue down the path of deception and self-destruction, or would she find the strength to confront her mistakes and seek redemption in the face of adversity? As Bevis scrolled through his phone, a sudden notification caught his eye. It was a message from Ariadne, his beloved wife, detailing her supposed plans for the evening. However, a sense of unease crept over him as he recalled her recent erratic behavior and unexplained absences. Ignoring his initial doubts, Bevis decided to surprise Ariadne at the hotel where she claimed to be attending a work conference. Upon arriving at the luxurious hotel, Bevis's heart raced with a mixture of anticipation and dread. As he made his way through the opulent lobby, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. With each step closer to the designated conference room, Bevis's mind raced with questions and suspicions. Finally reaching the door, Bevis hesitated for a moment before mustering the courage to push it open. What he saw inside would forever change the course of their lives. The sight of Ariadne locked in an intimate embrace with Tarek, a mutual acquaintance, sent shockwaves through Bevis's entire being. The betrayal was laid bare before him, shattering the illusion of his picture-perfect marriage. As Bevis stood frozen in disbelief, Ariadne's eyes widened in horror at being caught in the act. Tarek, on the other hand, wore a smug expression that only fueled Bevis's simmering rage. The hotel room, once a place of clandestine rendezvous, now became the stage for a confrontation that would unravel the carefully constructed facade of their lives. In that moment of truth, Bevis was faced with a choice: to confront his unfaithful wife and her deceitful lover, or to retreat and preserve what little remained of their shattered marriage. The weight of his decision hung heavy in the air as emotions ran high and words remained unspoken. The hotel encounter marked the beginning of the end for Ariadne and Bevis, setting into motion a chain of events that would test their resolve, unravel their secrets, and ultimately lead to a reckoning that neither could have foreseen. Bevis' calm demeanor masks a fiery plan. As the evening of the family dinner arrived, tension hung thick in the air like a heavy fog. Bevis, usually the epitome of composure, concealed a storm of emotions beneath his stoic facade. His calm demeanor belied the fiery plan brewing in his mind, a plan that would unravel the web of deceit Ariadne had spun around them. Seated at the head of the table, Bevis observed Ariadne's every move with a keen eye, his mask of indifference never slipping. The clinking of cutlery against plates seemed to echo louder in the strained silence that enveloped the dining room. Ariadne, her usual grace marred by guilt and apprehension, avoided Bevis' gaze, her hands trembling ever so slightly as she picked at her food. The children, oblivious to the turmoil between their parents, chattered away, their innocent laughter a stark contrast to the heavy atmosphere. Bevis, a master of deception in his own right, maintained a facade of normalcy for their sake, all the while biding his time for the opportune moment to strike. As the meal progressed, Bevis engaged in polite conversation, his words carefully chosen to mask the storm raging within him. Ariadne, her facade crumbling under the weight of guilt, stole furtive glances at Bevis, searching for any sign of his intentions. But Bevis remained unreadable, his poker face betraying nothing of the turmoil beneath the surface. Finally, as dessert was served, Bevis rose from his seat, his movements deliberate and controlled. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to him, anticipation hanging heavy in the air. With a voice as steady as steel, Bevis addressed Ariadne, his words cutting through the tension like a knife. "Tonight, the truth shall be revealed," Bevis declared, his gaze piercing through Ariadne's defenses. The time for pretense was over, and Bevis was ready to unveil the web of lies that had ensnared them all. What followed was a confrontation unlike any other, a clash of emotions and revelations that would change the course of their lives forever. Bevis' calm demeanor masked a fiery resolve, a determination to confront the betrayal that had shattered their once perfect facade. In that moment, as the truth came to light amidst tears and accusations, Bevis stood tall, his composure a shield against the storm of emotions unleashed by Ariadne's infidelity. The family dinner, once a symbol of unity and love, had become the battleground for a war of hearts and minds. As the night drew to a close, Bevis' plan had been set in motion, and the fallout of the confrontation would reverberate through their lives in ways they could never have imagined. The calm before the storm had passed, leaving in its wake a new reality where deceit and betrayal had no place to hide. As the truth of Ariadne's infidelity came to light, she found herself in a whirlwind of emotions and decisions. Desperation clouded her judgment as she scrambled to justify her actions and salvage what was left of her shattered reality. Initially, Ariadne's instinct was to deny any wrongdoing, to deflect blame onto external factors, and to paint herself as the victim in a narrative she had carefully crafted in her mind. She sought solace in excuses, rationalizations, and half-truths, hoping to shield herself from the harsh glare of reality. In her attempts to justify her actions, Ariadne wove a tangled web of lies, each thread pulling her deeper into a labyrinth of deceit. She clung to the fragile illusion she had constructed, unwilling to confront the harsh truths staring back at her. The fear of facing the consequences of her betrayal drove her to grasp at any semblance of control, even if it meant sacrificing her integrity in the process. As Ariadne's world crumbled around her, she frantically sought validation and understanding from those around her. She reached out to friends and family, seeking reassurance and absolution, only to be met with disappointment and disbelief. The walls she had built to protect herself now closed in on her, suffocating her with the weight of her own deception. Caught in a downward spiral of self-delusion and denial, Ariadne struggled to come to terms with the reality of her actions. The facade of perfection she had meticulously maintained lay in ruins, exposing the raw vulnerability and insecurity that had driven her to betray those closest to her. In her desperate attempts to justify her actions, Ariadne faced a stark choice: to continue down the path of deceit and self-destruction or to confront the painful truths she had long avoided. The unraveling of her carefully constructed facade forced her to confront the depths of her own moral ambiguity and the consequences of her choices. As Ariadne grappled with the harsh realities of her betrayal, she was forced to confront the true extent of the damage she had wrought. The unraveling of deceit laid bare the fragility of trust, the corrosive power of lies, and the profound impact of betrayal on those we hold dear. In the crucible of her own making, Ariadne was faced with a choice that would define the course of her future: to continue down the path of deception and denial or to embrace the painful process of self-reflection and redemption. The unraveling of deceit marked the beginning of a journey fraught with challenges, but also with the possibility of growth, healing, and ultimately, forgiveness. A calculated move to expose Ariadne's betrayal. As the sun set on the horizon, casting a golden hue over the elegant dining room where the family dinner was to take place, Bevis sat at the head of the table with a steely resolve in his eyes. His outward calm demeanor belied the storm brewing within him, a storm fueled by the betrayal of his wife, Ariadne. Throughout the evening, Bevis observed Ariadne's every move with a keen eye, noting the subtle shifts in her expressions and the nervous glances she cast in his direction. He knew that the time had come to unveil the truth, to expose the web of lies that Ariadne had spun around them. As the main course was served, Bevis raised his glass in a toast, his voice cutting through the polite chatter of the guests. "I have an announcement to make," he declared, his tone firm and unwavering. All eyes turned towards him, the air thick with anticipation and tension. With a sense of theatrical flair, Bevis recounted the events that had led him to uncover Ariadne's infidelity, each word striking like a dagger into the heart of their once idyllic marriage. He revealed the clandestine meetings, the whispered conversations, and the deceitful web of half-truths that Ariadne had woven around them. Ariadne's face paled as Bevis laid bare the extent of her betrayal, her attempts at denial crumbling in the face of his unwavering accusations. The guests watched in stunned silence, their expressions a mix of shock and disbelief at the unraveling drama before them. With a final flourish, Bevis produced irrefutable evidence of Ariadne's affair, a move that left no room for doubt or escape. The truth hung heavy in the air, a weight that Ariadne could no longer bear to carry. In that moment, Bevis' revenge was unleashed, a calculated strike designed to expose Ariadne's betrayal and reclaim his shattered dignity. The room buzzed with a mix of emotions: anger, betrayal, and a sense of justice served. As the echoes of Bevis' revelation faded into the night, Ariadne sat in stunned silence, her world crumbling around her. The facade of her perfect life lay shattered at her feet, revealing the harsh reality of her actions. Bevis had exacted his revenge, but the true fallout was yet to come. Ariadne sat in the dimly lit living room, her once elegant demeanor now replaced with a sense of defeat. The events of the past few days had unfolded like a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. Bevis had taken swift and decisive action, leaving her world in shambles. As the dust settled from Bevis' calculated move to expose her betrayal, Ariadne found herself isolated and vulnerable. Friends she once held dear had turned their backs on her, unable to reconcile the image of the perfect wife with the reality of her infidelity. The whispers and judgmental glances followed her everywhere, a constant reminder of her transgressions. Her once opulent lifestyle now felt like a gilded cage, trapping her in a world of loneliness and regret. Bevis, fueled by a mix of anger and wounded pride, had seized control of their assets and finances, leaving Ariadne with a mere fraction of what she once had. The lavish vacations, designer clothes, and extravagant parties were now distant memories, replaced by the harsh reality of her actions. But amidst the chaos and despair, a flicker of defiance ignited within Ariadne. She refused to be defined by her mistakes, determined to reclaim her sense of self-worth and independence. With a steely resolve, she began to rebuild her life from the ground up, seeking solace in the simple pleasures she had long taken for granted. As Bevis tightened his grip on her life, Ariadne found unexpected allies in the most unlikely of places. Strangers reached out with words of encouragement and support, offering a glimmer of hope in her darkest hour. Slowly but surely, she began to piece together the fragments of her shattered world, finding strength in her resilience and determination. The once proud and confident Ariadne had been humbled by her downfall, but in the ashes of her past mistakes, she discovered a newfound sense of purpose. No longer bound by the constraints of societal expectations, she embraced her flaws and imperfections, learning to forgive herself for the pain she had caused. As Bevis' control over her life waned, Ariadne emerged from the wreckage of her betrayal with a sense of liberation. The fall from grace had been steep and painful, but in its wake, she found the courage to forge a new path forward. With each step towards redemption, Ariadne reclaimed her agency and autonomy, no longer defined by the confines of her past. In the quiet moments of reflection, Ariadne realized that true strength lay not in perfection, but in the ability to rise from the ashes of failure. As she navigated the tumultuous waters of forgiveness and self-discovery, she embraced the uncertainty of the future with a newfound sense of resilience and grace. Tarek had always been a man of mystery, a shadow in the periphery of Ariadne and Bevis' seemingly idyllic life. Handsome and enigmatic, he exuded a magnetic charm that drew Ariadne into his orbit, despite the risks and consequences that loomed ominously on the horizon. As Bevis meticulously orchestrated his plan for retribution, Tarek found himself unwittingly entangled in a web of deceit and betrayal. Initially unaware of the depth of Ariadne's involvement with Bevis, Tarek had been a willing participant in their clandestine affair, believing himself to be the object of Ariadne's genuine affection. However, as Bevis' scheme unfurled with calculated precision, Tarek soon realized that he was nothing more than a pawn in a dangerous game of retribution and revenge. His initial feelings of infatuation and desire for Ariadne morphed into a sense of unease and apprehension as he witnessed the devastating consequences of their actions. Caught between loyalty to Ariadne and the growing realization of Bevis' vengeful intentions, Tarek grappled with conflicting emotions and a sense of impending doom. As Bevis tightened his grip on the unfolding drama, Tarek found himself torn between his desire to protect Ariadne and the harsh reality of his complicity in her downfall. In a cruel twist of fate, Tarek became a casualty of Bevis' relentless pursuit of justice, his own life forever altered by the repercussions of Ariadne's infidelity. As the dust settled and the truth came to light, Tarek was left to ponder his role in the tragic chain of events that had unraveled before his eyes. Ultimately, Tarek's involvement in the drama served as a stark reminder of the destructive power of deception and betrayal. As he grappled with the aftermath of Bevis' retribution and Ariadne's downfall, Tarek was forced to confront his own culpability in the unraveling of lives and the shattering of illusions. In the end, Tarek emerged from the chaos a changed man, haunted by the ghosts of the past and the harsh lessons learned in the crucible of betrayal. As he navigated the wreckage of his own shattered dreams, Tarek vowed to never again be a pawn in another's game of retribution, his heart heavy with the weight of regret and the bittersweet taste of redemption. The consequences of infidelity and deception. Infidelity and deception are like a double-edged sword, cutting through the very fabric of trust and love that binds relationships together. Ariadne's story serves as a cautionary tale, shedding light on the devastating consequences that can arise from betraying those closest to us. When Ariadne made the fateful decision to engage in an affair with Tarek, she likely never imagined the ripple effect it would have on her life and the lives of those around her. The initial thrill of secrecy and forbidden passion blinded her to the potential fallout, leading her down a treacherous path of deceit and betrayal. As the layers of lies began to unravel, Ariadne found herself trapped in a web of her own making, struggling to justify her actions and salvage what remained of her shattered marriage. The pain and heartache she inflicted upon Bevis and her family served as a harsh reminder of the irreversible damage caused by infidelity. The emotional toll of her actions weighed heavily on Ariadne, forcing her to confront the harsh reality of her choices and the devastating impact they had on those she loved. The trust that had once formed the foundation of her relationship with Bevis was now shattered beyond repair, leaving behind a trail of broken promises and shattered dreams. Through her journey of self-reflection and introspection, Ariadne came to understand the true cost of her infidelity. The loss of trust, the betrayal of love, and the destruction of her family unit served as painful reminders of the consequences of her actions. She learned that the temporary thrill of an affair paled in comparison to the lasting damage it inflicted on those she held dear. In the aftermath of her betrayal, Ariadne was forced to confront the harsh reality of her choices and the impact they had on her life and the lives of those around her. The once vibrant and idyllic picture of her marriage had been tarnished beyond recognition, replaced by a stark reminder of the fragility of trust and the destructive power of deception. As Ariadne navigated the tumultuous waters of regret and remorse, she began to understand the importance of honesty, integrity, and communication in relationships. The scars left by her infidelity served as a constant reminder of the fragility of trust and the need for transparency in all aspects of life. Ultimately, Ariadne's journey towards acceptance and forgiveness was a long and arduous one, marked by moments of self-doubt and introspection. She came to realize that redemption was not a destination but a continuous process of growth and self-discovery. In the end, Ariadne emerged from the ashes of her betrayal with a newfound sense of humility and gratitude. She understood that the lessons learned from her mistakes would shape her future relationships and guide her towards a path of honesty, integrity, and genuine connection. The consequences of infidelity and deception are far-reaching and profound, leaving behind a trail of destruction that can take years to repair. Ariadne's story serves as a stark reminder of the importance of trust, honesty, and respect in all relationships, highlighting the devastating impact of betrayal on those we hold dear. Ariadne sat alone in her dimly lit living room, the silence enveloping her like a heavy shroud. The events of the past few months replayed in her mind like a never-ending nightmare, each moment of betrayal and deceit etched into her memory with painful clarity. She had lost everything: her marriage, her reputation, her sense of self. And now, as she faced the wreckage of her life, she was left with a choice: redemption or regret. 4 weeks after Bevis had exposed her affair with Tarek, Ariadne had been consumed by anger, bitterness, and self-pity. She had lashed out at Bevis, blaming him for driving her into the arms of another man. She had raged against Tarek, accusing him of manipulating her and betraying her trust. She had even tried to justify her actions to herself, telling herself that she deserved happiness, even if it came at the expense of others. But as the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, Ariadne began to see things more clearly. She saw the pain and devastation she had caused Bevis, the man she had once loved more than life itself. She saw the hurt and confusion in her children's eyes, the innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire of her selfish choices. And most of all, she saw the emptiness and despair that had taken root in her own heart, a gaping void that no amount of lies or excuses could fill. It was then that Ariadne made a decision to face the consequences of her actions head-on, to take responsibility for the pain she had caused, and to seek a path towards redemption. She began by reaching out to Bevis, not with excuses or justifications, but with genuine remorse and a willingness to make amends. She listened as he poured out his anger and hurt, his sense of betrayal and loss. And she offered him the only thing she had left to give, her sincere apology and a promise to do better. As the days passed, Ariadne worked tirelessly to rebuild the trust and respect she had shattered. She attended therapy sessions to confront the underlying issues that had led her to betray Bevis in the first place. She sought guidance from spiritual leaders and mentors to help her find a sense of purpose and direction in her life. And she reached out to her friends and family, humbling herself before them and asking for their forgiveness and support. Slowly but surely, Ariadne began to see glimmers of hope amidst the wreckage of her past. She saw Bevis soften towards her, his eyes no longer filled with anger and resentment but with a cautious sense of forgiveness. She saw her children tentatively reach out to her, their young hearts yearning for the mother they had lost. And she felt a flicker of peace and acceptance begin to bloom within her, a sense that perhaps, just perhaps, she could find a way to move forward from the darkness that had consumed her. And so, as Ariadne sat alone in her living room, bathed in the soft glow of the setting sun, she made a silent vow to herself, a vow to continue on the path of redemption, no matter how difficult or painful it might be. She knew that the road ahead would be long and arduous, filled with obstacles and challenges she could not yet foresee. But she also knew that she had been given a second chance, a chance to rebuild her life from the ashes of her past mistakes, a chance to choose a different path, a path of acceptance, forgiveness, and ultimately, redemption. Conclusion. And so, as Ariadne sat alone in her living room, bathed in the soft glow of the setting sun, she made a silent vow to herself, a vow to continue on the path of redemption, no matter how difficult or painful it might be. She knew that the road ahead would be long and arduous, filled with obstacles and challenges she could not yet foresee. But she also knew that she had been given a second chance, a chance to rebuild her life from the ashes of her past mistakes, a chance to choose a different path, a path of acceptance, forgiveness, and ultimately, redemption. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this story. If you enjoyed the video, press 1. If not, press 0. Your feedback is my fuel to gather more inspiring and meaningful stories. Thank you.